बोलिए सतगुरु महाराज की जय, सच्चे दरबार की jai. Thank you everyone for joining us for another spiritual discourse. When we look at investing in something, say property for example, we ensure that it is a good investment, and in order to do that, we want to know how much it's going to cost us, what work is needed, what are the risks, what are the probabilities, and what is my return on investment, say in 2 years, 4 years, 10 years. Unfortunately, on the spiritual path, it is not so simple. There is no calculator that can provide what our return on investment is if you travel the spiritual journey. But saints and sages who have walked this path have left us scriptures, life experiences, poetry, numerous things explaining the benefits, explaining the gifts they received as they walked this spiritual path. They've also outlined risks, obstacles, and hurdles one faces as they transcend on this journey. Ever heard the saying, forewarned is forearmed? Holds true on the spiritual path as well. If we're aware of what impediments, what hurdles one can face on this path, if we know of them ahead of time, then we can recognize them immediately. Because hurdles come in many different forms, but if we're aware of them ahead of time, we would be able to recognize them in a much quicker manner and be able to deal with them and overcome them much more quickly than if we were not aware of them. The first and foremost thing needed to transcend on the path of sadhana is to take full responsibility. Full responsibility of your practice. Full responsibility of your thoughts and actions. So only watch this video if you're ready to forego excuses and make a dedicated commitment to your sadhana practice. Although the benefits of meditation, the benefits of a sadhana practice are numerous, today we're going to talk about the hurdles, the obstacles that show up on this path. Because if you are aware of them, you can recognize them and overcome them in a much quicker manner. Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras, Yoga Sutra 130, outlines the 9 obstacles one faces on the spiritual path. He says, Vyadhisthana samshaya pramada alasya virati Bharti darshana labdha bhumi katvana vasti tatvani chitta vikshepaste antaraya. He explains that the first obstacle is vyadi, meaning illness. And this can be a wide range, because it could be something as simple as a cold or flu that prevents you from your sadhana practice for a day or two. Or illness that is long-standing, maybe like cancer or fibromyalgia. But the truth is that being in this human body is a disease. Stuck in the cycle of birth and death is a psychosomatic disease. But to overcome this, we need Brahmgyan. That ancient, eternal technique of Brahmgyan that we receive through the blessing of a guru, when he awakens our third eye and connects us to our true essence, to the soul that exists within us. And as we continue to practice, we will start to identify ourselves with our soul and disidentify from the body. will come to recognize that this body is a vehicle for us to fulfill our purpose of liberation. The more we practice, we'll start to disidentify with the body. Just like over time, your car has regular wear and tear, but you do regular oil changes and checkups on the car to make sure it functions properly and gets you to where you need to go. Just like that, recognize that the body over time will have its regular wear and tear. But as long as you're doing yoga daily, you're eating healthy, you're walking outdoors, whatever you need to do in order to keep your body healthy, if you are continuing to do that, then the body will serve as a vehicle for you to use to get to your destination. If you have a long-standing illness, cancer, fibromyalgia, for example, then remember that you existed before your cancer, and you'll exist after it as well. So don't identify with the illness. Don't let it label you. Instead, shift your perspective. Remind yourself that just like anything else in the world, this is transient as well. So connect back to your soul. Identify with your true essence, which is that soul that exists within you. If you're finding that you're making excuses, that I didn't do my sadhana today because I've got a fever, then know that this is starting to become a hindrance. If you can continue with your discipline of sadhana, continue with your practice despite the illnesses, despite the disease, then you will overcome that disease. Then you will be the driver of this vehicle and the body will not be driving you. So even in those times of illness and sickness, try and maintain your practice. As you connect to the soul, what happens on the level of the body will not affect you as much. Many people who have stuck through their practice say that my body aches all day, but when I'm in meditation, I don't feel a thing. So it is possible to not let illness be an obstacle, be a hindrance on your path to self-realization. The second is dhyana, meaning mental inertia. When we do something over and over again, human nature is that we can do it without even paying attention to it. For example, if you travel the same path to work every day, over time, you don't even have to think about which direction, where's your left, where's your right, but you just end up at work. Or if you cook the same meal every day, then over time, you can cook a meal without even thinking twice about it. This same nature can fall into our practice as well. If you practice on a daily basis, if you have a discipline with your practice, it is easy to just sit during that time and get up when that time is done without even paying attention to what's happening in your meditation, to whether you're making progress or not. And no, the answer is not to have a discipline. But for meditation to happen, we need to have an alert and energetic mind. It is very easy to just sit in this posture, close our eyes, and wait till our time is up. Sometimes we even fall asleep in our meditation but don't even realize it. But Sri Ashutosh Maharji says that a disciple has to be satark, meaning alert, in their meditation. And there's many ways to do this. Interchanging between the different techniques we've received, between the light, the music, the name, and the nectar. Interchanging between those techniques during your practice will help keep you alert. Another great exercise is pranayama, breathing exercises. Different breathing exercises, incorporating them as part of your sadhana practice so that you are alert during your practice. Often we have the understanding that when we sit in meditation, we should just close our eyes and breathe. But the truth is, brothers and sisters, the time that we sit in our practice, we are trying to connect. So use that time to practice different techniques, different pranayamas, to help yourself connect to that truth. As you do this, there will be pockets of bliss. There will be moments of stillness. And these moments will start to increase on their own. But as you sit in your practice, try and be alert and challenge yourself. Try different things. Say, doing music technique for 20 minutes a day to see what difference it makes in your meditation. Or going out for a walk before your meditation practice for a week and see what difference that makes to your meditation practice. This practice is an enjoyable and a pleasurable journey. It's not meant to be a chore. So make it exciting. There are so many tools and techniques that we have received that we can incorporate in our practice to see what works for us, what doesn't work for us, to see which techniques help us get deeper. This path is infinite. So always try and dig deeper. Continue to do things that will help you get deeper and deeper into your practice. The third obstacle is sanchaya, meaning doubt. Lord Krishna says that a doubting individual is the worst of all mortals. He says they do not receive happiness in this world nor in the next world. Doubt, when we start to believe it, when we believe it to such an extent that we feel it's the truth, it stops our practice in its tracks. It paralyzes us to an extent where we can't seem to move beyond it. And doubt comes in many forms. When we try to build a discipline of practice, but we're having a hard time, then we start to say, we doubt ourselves. We start to say, am I good enough? I'm too big of a sinner. I don't think I deserve this. We question even receiving the gift of Brahmgyan. We say, I'm not worthy of this gift. And there was a disciple, a young lady once, going through this thought process within her mind, thinking to herself that I'm not even worthy to receive this gift of Brahmgyan, that I'm such a big sinner. And with these thoughts, she went to the ashram one day and she got to see Ashutosh Maharji. She got to sit with him for a few moments. And while she did pranam and sat down, Sri Ashutosh Marji played a song, a bhajan. And the bhajan meant that you are the jewel in my crown. He immediately changed her thought process from negative to positive. Because as we go down this train of negative thoughts, it can drag us so far down that it's hard to bring ourselves back up. So Sri Ashutosh Marji does not even want us to entertain thoughts like this. Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Api chidasi papyabhyaha sarvabhyaha papkritamaha sarvam gyan plavenev vrigyanan santarishyasi. That you can be the sinnest of sinners, but this boat of Brahmgyan, this boat of self-realization can take you across all the wickedness that you can think of. Guru gave us this gift of Brahmgyan. If we thought of worthiness, maybe none of us are worthy. But he's given us this gift of Brahmgyan because he knows we have potential within us. So instead of doubting yourself, remind yourself that Guru has given you this gift. Let me put the effort needed in order to have this gift of Brahmgyan bring fruit in my life. Those who continue to doubt, if they go a little deeper, they'll start doubting the technique. Is this technique even working? I don't feel anything. All I can feel is my legs and my knees hurting. Maybe this technique is not for me. And we jump from technique to technique to technique. But brothers and sisters, this technique of Brahmgyan is the eternal technique for self-realization. It is the same technique that Lord Krishna, Lord Rama, Jesus Christ, Prophet Muhammad, Buddha, all the gurus, all the saints provided their disciples with. It is through the practice of this same very technique they attained liberation. So it is the eternal technique. If we want to get water, is it better to dig 10 holes in the ground that are 1 feet deep or 1 hole that is 10 feet deep? The latter. So the technique is eternal. The need is just for us to practice. There are many techniques being offered in the world today, and they might bring moments of stillness, moments of bliss. But the truth is, according to scriptures, that Brahmgyan is the eternal technique to liberation. That is the technique that will help us reach our goal, that will help us fulfill our purpose. If we're okay with the technique, then we start doubting the Guru. I don't know if this Guru is spiritual enough. I don't know if I connect with this Guru. Guru provided, he fulfilled his purpose. He passed the test when he gave us the gift of Brahmgyan. Because scriptures say, Jo dekh dikhave tiske bal jaun. That one who has seen and can enable us to see is the one who's considered the Sat Guru. When thine eyes be single, thy body shall be full of light. The one who can awaken that single eye, awaken that Christ consciousness within you, show you that light of God, is who we refer to as a Sat Guru. Guru's already proven himself. when he gave us that gift of Brahmgyan. In order to overcome doubt, Satsang, community, is very, very important. Because as we come into congregation, through satsangs, many of our doubts, our questions are answered. A place where we can ask and clarify our doubts is important. Because doubt is like a weed. If it spreads, it can take over the entire plant. This doubt, if it lingers within us, if it is not clarified in a timely manner, it will expand to such an extent that it prevents us from continuing our practice. It will capture our plant of Brahmgyan so tight and not let it grow. So if doubt occurs, make sure you clarify them as soon as possible. Listen, I know we cannot congregate in these times, but listen to the weekly satsangs. They will bring you answers. And if you still have doubts, then pick up the phone and call. Clarify your doubts as soon as they come up. The fourth obstacle is pramada, meaning carelessness. Often when we think of meditation, we think of emptying the mind, that no thoughts should be within the mind. But the truth is, a meditator does not empty their mind, but they are aware of what thoughts are going through their mind at all times. Because they know as soon as they let their guard down, or if they're careless with it, then there might be thoughts that are driven by the ego. There might be negative thoughts, thoughts that come up that can stray them from the path of truth. Hence, they're always alert and careful of what are the thoughts that are going through their mind. Which are the thoughts that we want to hold on to, and which are the ones that we want to let go of. I'll share a short example with you of a goat. A goat was being chased by dogs. And she goes and finds this big vine and hides behind it to hide herself from the dogs. They pass her by, not realizing that she's hiding behind this vine. And they continue looking for her. She thinks to herself, oh, they're gone. So she starts to eat this vine that she's hiding behind. And soon enough, she was visible. The vine that was covering her was all eaten, and the dogs found her. So even a moment of carelessness can take us away from our path of truth, can create a hindrance or obstacle on our path. So always be alert and aware. This is where the practice of awareness comes in, where you're aware of all the thoughts that are going through the mind. Our thoughts are what drive our effort, that drive us in the direction we want to go. So we want to ensure that these thoughts are positive. These thoughts are those that will keep us transcending on the path of truth. For example, when you're climbing a mountain, your focus is to get to the top of the mountain. And you're careful of each step where you take it. Where you place each foot of yours, you're very careful of it. You're vigilant about it. Because you know if one wrong step can make you fall down the mountain. If you apply the same analogy to your spiritual path, reminding yourself, focusing on your purpose, on your goal of liberation, that is my goal, then you will transcend this path carefully. You will be aware of where you invest your energy. Who are the people that you're spending time with? What are the things that you're watching on television or listening to? Ensuring that all of these things, everything that you engage in, is pushing you towards your goal. We'll stop here for today's discourse, and next week we'll continue with the rest of the obstacles. Till next time, God bless, stay safe.